Join UF Hall of Famer and 14-year NFL vet Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Good morning. It is PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the International Diamond Center Studios, locations across the state of Florida and right there in Celebration Point in the heart of Gator Nation. Go visit them, especially at Christmas time, the International Diamond Center. Comfort Chef Heating and Air is your number one local HVAC company. Comfort is their business. Peace of mind is their promise. Give them a call. Or visit them at comforttemp.com. Today's show, we'll have Buddy Martin. We'll have Kevin Brockway. We'll get both their comments on the press conference from yesterday. And also, Kevin will give us a lot of in-depth analysis on Florida at Duke in basketball tonight at Cameron Indoor, 7:30 on ESPN. John Sumrall is your new football coach. He had his presser yesterday. And our next guest, good old Buddy Martin from the Buddy Martin Show, he was there. Buddy Martin, give us your rundown. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I was more impressed than I wanted to be. But we have a tendency here to go one way or the other. Our coaches hate him or love him. Before I get too ebullient and start heaping praise on him, let's not put him in the Hall of Fame yet. Let's let him coach a couple of games. But what I saw, I liked a lot more than I wanted to like. And I was surprised at how enthusiastic the room was, the people in it, the coaches like Spurrier and Meyer, and the general public. What I'm getting back at feedback now is that people feel like this was the best choice. I can't go back now and talk about the Lane Kiffin story. It's gone. It's sailed. Would have been nice. It was a nice little story, but I think most Florida fans today, when they hear this guy talk, when they see him coach, they're going to say, we got the right guy. But we can't say that yet, Kevin Shane.
No, we can't say that to you. Play some ball. Play some ball games. Buddy, somebody on here, it's Baron71 on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, asked, did I know if Jeremy Foley attended yesterday's press conference? I was not there.
No, he did not.
Okay, Buddy was there, so he was not there. All right. Florida Boy on YouTube says, I hope that our new OC has complete control to do what's best for the team at QB. I'm afraid that if you're committed to DJ in 2026, it'll turn elite OCs away. The new OC should have complete control. I would hope that he can make decisions. I don't know how all these NIL contracts work, buddy. If stuff is guaranteed or what have you. So that's over my pay grade. I don't know how it works. We'll let Coach Sumrall and his staff figure it out.
Yeah, I don't think we need to start worrying about that just yet. We can talk about, Cade Bell and all the other people we'd like to see, maybe Neil Brown or whatever. I think he knows offensive football to know enough that coaches like Coach Spurrier and Coach Meyer, obviously have coexisted with their defensive coordinators, although Spurrier had some dicey years with his. I think it's a given that he will give the guy the keys and say, you coach ball. And
well, I think he's asking, is he going to have to play DJ is what he was asking.
I don't know that.
Yeah, that's what I say. I don't know how those contracts work.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. I'm not too worried about the particulars of that just yet. I want to size up what we saw yesterday, evaluate what he said, and I think you can get the keys from the room when you're in it and you see the guy walk in. What does it do to the rest of the people? It's like a great player taking the field. There's certain people like Tim Tebow walk on the field the first time. There was a buzz. I'm not going to say this guy is a Tim Tebow coaches. I will say there was definitely a buzz about him like I haven't felt in a long, long time. I know people say, well, so-and-so on the press conference and so-and-so on the press conference. I don't mean that. It's not just one of the press conference. It's a command. And I know you know it, Shane, like when a quarterback walks in the huddle, there's a certain command that they automatically get of the room. And I think this guy got the command yesterday. And here's the thing. He feels like he is absolutely right for the job, and the job is right for him. And he said, I was made for this job. I can't recall Billy Napier saying anything like that. As a matter of fact, a lot of people say, I'm not sure Billy played orange and blue. I'm not sure Billy ever really wanted to be here. I don't know about all that. This guy wants to be here. He's going to be a heck of a coach and recruiter and a really all-in guy hits in the community. At school, he's going to go to all the games. So far, let's just say so far, I really like his choice. I can't wait to see how it turns out.
Yeah, Wes on Facebook Live brought to you by Mel Law. Shane, do we keep the roster together? Again, I've said this multiple times on the program. We don't know what John Sumrall and his staff prefer, right? I say it all the time, buddy. You and I can be we could coach and we can look at a player and you can say, I love that guy. And I can say, well, I don't know if I got somebody better than him. Um, so I do know that they're going to try to keep obviously Jaden Ball, Vernell Brown III, Trey Wilson, maybe Trey. I don't know
Dallas
if his
Wilson.
eligibility's up. Dallas Wilson and Miles Graham. I know those are imperative to keep. After that, I don't know. I just know
Well, let
those
me
are
say
the,
this. Indications are from what he said. Number one, he told his players at Tulane to stay with there and they committed there to stay there. He's not taking any of those commits with him. Number two, he talks about how much he liked this roster. He said, we got some dudes on defense. And he called out by name the various players. I love what he said about watching the game before last weekend, watching the Gator game. He said, I'd say we should have given us number 13 10 more times. He knows the roster, he knows the players. I get the feeling that's all we got is he likes this roster. He's got things he didn't know he even had. Like when he went to the weight room and they showed him the weight room, he said, now who gets to use this room? They said, football. Blew his mind. I mean, we get this? Yes, you get that. Because in other places, you got to share that weight room with everybody, sometimes the student body. So what he says he saw and what he likes, I think he likes the hand he's been dealt.
yeah. But that doesn't mean he doesn't want a bunch of guys
Of course not.
out of the portal.
Of course not.
Yeah. Andy's question on Facebook Live brought to you by Mel Law. Does Dave Caldwell have any say on coordinators? I doubt it. I wouldn't think so. I would think that's all John Summerall.
I
So
agree.
this text from Rick and Jupiter on the Titan of our text line. What type of offense does Cade run? Do you prefer his scheme versus some of the options I hear are more in the veer and running in the shoot scheme? I don't know. Cade's is a vertical passing attack. It's got some West Coast principles in it. It's got tempo. He knows what he's doing. Buster Faulkner at Georgia Tech, it's been heavy run, quarterback run. I don't know if that's due to Haynes King not being a great thrower. The guy at Tennessee, obviously, is the fast tempo. I don't know what he's going to decide to do, but I think John Summerall, from everybody that I've spoken with and listening to different sound bites from his press conference, he knows how important it is for the quarterback and the offense for us to win games. That's the bottom line, buddy. You can
Yeah,
sit
he's
here and
shown a
talk to me.
willingness.
You can sit here and talk to me about great defensive players and great running backs and all that. If you don't have the right quarterback in the right system with the right guy calling plays, you don't win a lot of football games. That's a fact.
Here's the key point about him. I think, and I hate to keep bringing up Billy Napier's name, but he was the coach. You didn't get to feel anything changed with him. He'd come back after a game and something be wrong. You'd say, ask him, he'd talk, or he'd nod and say, yeah. And then he'd go do the same thing. This guy has shown a willingness to adapt quickly. He will change his entire offense if that's what it takes. He would go from a run and shoot to a running game. Whatever his personnel dictates, he's shown a willingness to do that. Not only from game to game, but even from halftime to halftime. So he's a very adaptable guy, a word we never used with the previous coach. He was
Yeah.
not adaptable at all.
I always think, I mean, you do have to adapt as a coach, but in today's world, I don't think you have to do it that much. You go get the damn players that you want to run your system because it's a free market now. It's just different. Um, Kevin on the Titan of our text, and I said, I heard Summerall mention Kerwin's name yesterday. Any chance he gives Kerwin a call? I don't know. He coached against Kerwin when he was a defensive coordinator at San Diego. Kerwin was at JU. So we'll see. we'll see
He
what happens.
points out it was not University of San Diego. It was a small school out there too, by the way.
No, it's University of San Diego.
Well, he coached first though, San Diego before then at the smaller school. We talked about it yesterday. Whatever that school is out there, it's not University of San Diego. The small is it? Maybe that's the small one.
That's
It's
the
not San
small one.
Diego State. It's not San Diego State. Okay,
Correct. Yeah, he coached the Toreros at San Diego, where
exactly.
Jim Harbaugh was the head coach.
You got it right.
Yeah. All right. Let's get to this day in sports brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Putting star power to work in your financial life for over 90 years, where Steve Spurrier banks 2006 to 15th SEC championship game, which we have another one this weekend against Georgia and Alabama. But in 2006, the mighty Gators beat the Arkansas Razorbacks 38 to 28. Went on to win the national title, by the way. How about that? Remember
Yeah.
those days, buddy?
I remember it well. I remember that play that Urban went for on the gambling play. That they played a great football game against a really great player, running back for Arkansas. I was at that game, and they always got ready with the big game, especially postseason or rivals came up. That's one thing I liked about Urban's teams. They were ready to play.
When Urban Meyer wanted to introduce his high-quality tequila to the Gator Nation, he made sure to get it to the HBC, and his team at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Dorn's Liquors go beyond with smooth Los Landeros tequila. All right, buddy. On the YouTube brought to you by Quality Plumbing, the Fox Den says, buddy, good job sneaking that statement in the press conference yesterday. Bring back Gator bait. Did you say
Well,
that, buddy?
yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing. He referenced it. What was the cool thing was is he said he remembered his recollections of the swamp. He said he remembered how close they were to the student section. He remembered how, I didn't use the word intimidating, they were. And he said, and the students shouting, Gator bait, Gator bait, Gator bait. As a player, he never forgot that. I'm saying if that made that any kind of impact, and I've been watching them say it since the 50s up there, why would you not want that to continue to be continued over some cockamamie story that somebody made up? So yeah, I did say that. I said thank you for mentioning it, and I do think I said I thanked him for it. And I want to get to Scott Strickland and say, Scott, did you already said about it? Anyway, yes, for another day. But he did embrace that, and he embraced a lot of things about the university and about he really likes being a Gator. And even though it feels like he was either born to be a Gator or is a Gator.
Yeah, Camp says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel, DJ may be able to prove he gets a QB-minded OC in place. That being said, I have no idea why Willie Simmons isn't getting any mentioning. He's a guy from Florida, has head coaching experience, been successful everywhere he's played and coached. Yeah, Willie does a good job down at FIU. A lot of times, what people don't realize, when you've been a head coach, and I want to say Willie was the head coach at FAMU for a while. When you've been a head coach, you do not want to be an assistant coach. It's hard to work for other people. And I know that because of Kerwin. Kerwin had always been a head coach his entire life, took a gamble and went and worked for Charlie Strong at South Florida for 1 year, and it was a disaster. So I hear what you're saying, Camp, but I know he would make more money, but sometimes those dudes that have been in charge like to stay in charge. So, um, to there.
Some people are born to lead and not follow.
Yeah, and then once you're in that leadership position, it's hard to work for somebody else. I mean, because you're the
Yeah.
ones telling everybody what to do and calling the shots. And then when Buddy Martin, the head coach, says, "Hey, do not call another run play. I mean, call another pass play. I want this." You're handcuffed, right? So, it's being an assistant. You got to be a good soldier sometimes, as they call it. So,
Yeah, you know what? Almost most of my career, I was fortunate to have to work for somebody else. I mean, I had my own department. I don't work well for somebody else. I'm not a good, great soldier. I'm a good lieutenant, but I'm not a very great soldier.
yeah, I've called plays, at the high school and then the XFL and it's hard. It's hard when you're not in control. It's extremely hard. This text on the Titan Mark text line, I've seen a lifetime of pre-snap shifts and motions and tight ends. I hope Cade or whomever is our new OC doesn't love that near as much as last. You're still going to see some of that. You got to remember a lot of that it gives you advantages. It shows the quarterback the coverages. Uh, there's nothing wrong with it. Tony from Atlanta says Summerall needs to be, never needs to be a comedian. That attempt at a joke about Kiffin to open the press conference was not good. I didn't see
No,
that.
it's not funny. He's right.
All right.
Um, I know. I mean, look, he didn't bat 1,000. I thought he did. I really have to say, in going back, and I think I know I've seen most opening day press conferences. Maybe might have missed one or two in there. Forget. But the bottom line was, in terms of how you feel after, it's not winning the press conference. It's being there and hitting the right notes and having command of the room and making people feel like, yeah, I can take charge of this and I will. I know what I'm doing. I would say that on that count, John Summerall. By the way, it's not Summerall like
Summerall.
Pat. It's John Summerall, Sumrall. Let's not go through the whole litany of spelling his name wrong. People can't seem to get Scott Strickland's name right yet. He's been here how many years? So it's Summerall. I think he hit the right notes. I think he did as good as any of the coaches I've attended their introductory press conference. I think he did it really well. I'd give him a 9.5.
All right. We have a quality plumbing here on YouTube from Art. Who do you think is the team who has the best shot from the SEC to win the national championship? He's thinking Georgia.
Yeah.
We don't know who is exactly in right now, but I'm gonna go. I think a lot of it has to do, we got to see the brackets, Art. Who's playing at home, or is it a road game? Do they get a home game? Do they get a bye? Now, all the teams that got byes last year didn't win a game, I believe. So I'm going to lean Georgia as well, just because I think they're the makeup of the team. They're used to winning games. Um, but I'll go Georgia. Gator Tim says, QB, why are all the Gator writers and every other podcast host pushing the same agenda? Actually, some of them posting the same clips to try and force fan bases to accept this new hire. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not aware of that. What's he
I don't
referring
think
to?
anybody's trying to force anybody to do anything. Their job is to go in there and write what they saw and heard. I think they did a pretty good job of that. You go in, well, what do people want to know? I mean, the first question, I met a guy last night from Kansas who comes down here, who here's my show of all things out in Kansas near Wichita. And he still wanted to know, did we get this right? And I said, I think we did. That's how it felt, at least. That's what they want to know. And nobody's pushing any agenda. Get that out of your mind that the media is trying to orchestrate something. We don't agree on the time of day, let alone an agenda, please.
Yeah. Ron 71 says, QB, if Cade Bell's our OC, do you think Taron Dickens might be a transfer portal option? Could be. I would say if Cade, which I think he's leaving Pitt, I just don't know, we don't know where he's going. He will take his true freshman quarterback with him. He's a good
He's
player.
a small guy. Isn't he a small guy?
No, his quarterback at Pitt's like 6'4", 6'3",
Really? Okay.
215.
Got it mixed up.
Really
I
good
can't
player.
keep up. No.
Really good
Okay.
player. Rick and Jupiter on the Dynamo text line. What are your Ole Miss people saying about what's going on with Lane and confidence level going into the playoffs without him and Weiss? They're done with Lane. They don't care. Uh, they like Pete Golden. We'll see. I guess Joe Judge will call the plays for them. I'm not sure, but I think Ole Miss is going to rally. Again, we got to see who they play first round of the playoffs, but I'm pulling for the Rebels, no question about it.
I feel kind of bad for them having their greatest season ever. I think all of the Gator fans now obviously are rooting for Ole Miss. It's been a long time, and you know it better than anybody. Your family's from there. I want to see them do well. I don't know what that means, but Lane didn't win a lot of friends there at the end. On the other hand, let me say this: what choices did he had? He could have handled it differently, but it all started out because he was interested in the Florida job, which it didn't turned out he didn't get. It's hard right now the way the structure is with the signing day, the portal, all the things coming up. Like we got signing day coming up like next couple of days. It's hard to orchestrate that to try to win on the field, recruit, get signing portal people, and do all that, and also coach your team. And I love the thing that Summerall said yesterday. He's selling his office in Tulane. He says he has two offices. He has the regular front office and the back office. The back office is where all dirty work is done, where they have the all night sessions and all the work. There's a sign over the door of the back office that says, as a reminder to him, coach the team. Coach the team. That's the part that coaches miss, including the last one. Coach your damn team is what you're there to do. Never mind all the other stuff. Coach your team.
Yeah. Somebody asked me about Cade's quarterback. Is he athletic enough to be in the SEC? Yes. Yes, he plays in the ACC. Let me tell you something. He's either going to be playing in the ACC, Big Ten, or SEC next year, that quarterback. He's good. Uh, Pitt's had a great year. They've struggled against Notre Dame and Miami because they can't match up with them. It's a different level of football athlete, different level athlete. So, but I believe that Cade and that quarterback will be in the ACC somewhere other than Pitt, in the Big Ten, or in the SEC. So we'll see.
Let me ask you a question. We talked about this for years about getting this playoff system, getting a chance to the best teams play. Now we've got 12. We've got the playoffs. We have all the other stuff that goes with that, the new football of 2025. I'm having a hard time keeping up with all the plot lines. There's so much going on. I forget who's coaching where. I know I'm getting longer in the tooth, but don't you find it a little more confusing and hard to keep up with?
I mean, I don't really pay attention until we find out what's going on, right? I mean, I think we need to go to 24 team playoff, like the FCS. They've been
Well, you
doing it
knew
for
that was going to happen right away. That was going to happen eventually, like basketball. They started multiplying pretty soon. We're going to get at least 24 at some point.
yeah, they don't. I mean, I don't know why they don't do it. It's more money and it's more exciting, and they've been doing it and not having any issues at that level for many, many years. So why we can't do it at the big boy level doesn't make sense to me.
Can I say
Um,
one thing about the coaching situation and how we wound up with the guy we got in Summerall, and how sometimes be careful what you ask for because maybe the other thing is better. You never know. I want to remind folks that in October of 2004, Ron Zook was fired. Immediately, we all turned to Washington, where Steve Spurrier had resigned or fired, whatever, was playing golf, and thought, what a great chance to bring Steve Spurrier back. And I was excited. You probably somewhere were excited. Coach Spurrier was excited with the possibilities. That didn't last but about 48 hours because they had their guy. They knew they had their guy. They put the word out, well, we're going to do a national search. That was just a euphemism for saying that the president has a guy. He wanted Urban Meyer. And when Steve didn't get it, we were all kind of dejected about it. I remember being in the car driving to Jacksonville from Florida, Georgia on a Friday when Steve called me and said, no, they got their guy. They told me I had to apply. What an insult. So they didn't get him. Got a guy named Urban Meyer. That worked out pretty good, I'd say, for everybody concerned, especially for Florida, especially for South Carolina. And Coach Spurrier wound up having a terrific career there. But sometimes you don't get the guy you want. It's like a saying in baseball, Shane. Sometimes the best trade you make is the one that you don't make. So we'll see how this could play out for everybody. I think it could work out well. Could work out well for Lane Kiffin too. Who knows? But I think right now I like the hand that's being dealt Florida Gators with John Summerall. It's going to be an interesting and exciting time because number one, his energy level. His energy level is off the charts. Number two, his willingness to make changes and not give us the complimentary football line, all the crap that we've heard for the last 4 years. So, Gator fans, you'll feel the energy. You make a judge for yourself. I don't want to put him in the Hall of Fame yet, but I like the hire. I like after day one how things are looking for the Florida Gator football program.
um, Josh on Facebook Live says, brought to you by Mel, who's in charge of hiring the new OC? Why would we think Summerall can do that? Because he's a defense coach. He knows what
Coach.
yeah. The um he has buddies, not buddies, but he watches football around the country and he knows how important it is to hire a good offensive coach. Defensive coaches know who are hard to go against,
Of
right?
course they do.
Yeah.
Of course they. Spurrier loved Muschamp for that reason. He liked him a lot. Thought he'd be a great defensive coordinator. But anyway, no, they know they have a book. This guy's a football coach, man. Just because he coaches the defensive side of football, I mean, he knows ball.
John Jett says on YouTube, 24 is way too many. I disagree. I mean, they've been doing an FCS for hundreds of years. It'd be fun, in my opinion. Um, Also, John says here on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel, does Will Stein take his QB with him? I don't know how much he likes Dante Moore, um, but I don't know if he's been announced as the new Kentucky coach or not. You know what's interesting about that is, or do you know who Will Stein is, buddy? He's the
And
Oregon
just
OC.
just the more what his background is,
Yeah,
and
he's
I've
he's
heard his
really
name a
good at
lot,
what he
especially.
does. He's
Yeah,
worked his way up, but he was like a walk-on. He played quarterback at Louisville. He grew up in Louisville. I mean, he's a Louisville guy. Um, and now he's going to be the head coach of Kentucky. That's kind of funny to me.
that's fine. Don't you think that Kentucky today would love to add John Summerall, a former Kentucky linebacker? What a great hire he'd have been for them, and they would just love to have him. They got their guy, but I mean, I think this guy is going to be a better kidder than he would have been a Kentucky Wildcat. He loves it here.
Yeah.
I'm
All right,
still stop saying it, but waiting to see.
Joseph has a question here, buddy. I'll let you answer before we get you out of here on Facebook
Yeah.
Live. Shane, what's going to got to happen for actual athletes, past players becoming athletic directors? We have a guy calling the shots that couldn't even be a water boy. Um, well, most athletic directors go through. I guess they get degrees in sports management. I did that my senior year to be eligible to play. I graduated early out of the business school. So I'm like, okay, what do I got to do to get 12 hours to be eligible to play? I don't even know if you still
Really?
got it. Yeah. So I was like, damn, I should have done this from day one. It was very interesting to me. Did not
Really?
finish it because I just did it. I just had to have 12 hours to be eligible to play.
Huh.
Um, but I don't know any former Gators that are athletic directors anywhere, quite honestly.
Hmm.
So.
Guess the guys in the pros, Rosebond, people like that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking about it, but I wouldn't. My recollection's not that good. But let's put it this way: it's not something you think of when you think of Florida football. You don't think of ads.
Yeah, Tim says here on Facebook Live, if Cade is bringing his own QB, he won't be coming to Florida. Gary Condren won't allow it. Condren likes to meddle. He'll hire the OC and DC. Well, let's hope not. Let's have
Hey, he
somebody.
writes his checks, man. He writes his checks. What are you going to do?
Yeah. Well,
He gets a vote at the table. He was there yesterday. He didn't look like an intrusive guy. I know Gary just a little bit. Everybody's got their look at Yellowwood. Look at every school, they got their guys. So we'll see. Condren got the guy he wanted by all accounts. He wanted John Summerall as the guy.
buddy, who's on your program tonight?
Well, Lauren Meadows has got it tonight. He and Rob Brown and the team will have it on program. Tomorrow night, if I could mention, going to be at the Ocala Quarterback Club, the presentation of the first Wayne McCall Character Award for the Gator athlete from Marion County, who best exemplifies the high qualities of character, etc., that the late Wayne McCall did. Wayne's whole family will be there tomorrow night, and the first winner is going to be who? Who do you think from Marion County had a
Well,
great year last year and doing every way?
it's Jake Slaughter.
You got it. Jake Slaughter's
Yeah.
going to get the award tomorrow night. I'll be happy to be able to present it to him. The first Wayne McCall Character Award. And it'd be great to say hi to Jake, who's represented his school, his town very well.
Yeah. All right, buddy. Have a good day. We'll talk to you next
Thank
week.
you, Shane. All right.
as Buddy Martin joins us on the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Town. Quick timeout, come back. We'll have Kevin Brockway. We'll talk a little Gator football and mostly basketball with the Gators playing at Duke. You're watching and listening to Matthews in the Morning from the International Diamond Center Studios. We'll be right back.
Our premium sponsors are Atlantic Roofing, Campus USA Credit Union, International Diamond Center, J.F. Hayden's Craft Liqueurs, Los Landeros Tequila, Meldon Law, Titan MRI and Imaging, UF Health Orthopedics. Our gridiron sponsors are Baker's Sports, Comfort Temp, Electronics World, Florida Cracker Kitchen, Florida Victorious, Gallo Car Wash, Miapa Latin Cafe, Peachland Dental, Quality Plumbing, Rue's Ogre State Farm, Silverback Concrete, 84 Lumber, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Gator Dominoes, Ironwood Golf Course, McDonald's of Gainesville, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, UF Bookstores, Advocare, and MG&A Wealth. Watch and listen to us live on Facebook and YouTube. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. And if you want to advertise, give my man Freddie a call at 352-284-3733.
Hi there, this is Coach Steve Spurrier, and I want to let you know that by popular demand, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill's delicious brunch is now served in a premium buffet. You have spoken, we have listened, and we're now serving Gainesville's only elevated buffet, complete with an omelet station, ginger sage chicken sausage, shredded short rib, and of course our chicken and waffles. Plus, you can enjoy bottomless, mimosas, and Bloody Marys. So join us every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 3 for the best brunch in town.
The jewelry store with the most likes, the most positive reviews, the most raving fans is International Diamond Center.
IDC is definitely a place that I will come to as long as I live here. This will be my go-to place always.
Literally the best jewelry store in town. You'll make friends for life coming in here. I felt like family from the beginning. The value was extraordinary.
I've got a beautiful diamond on my finger and I'm very proud of it.
International Diamond Center.
I'm very happy to show it off.
At Celebration Point and online at shopidc.com.
Welcome back to the International Diamond Center Studios. Florida Crackers, a brand for original Floridians, great food and southern hospitality in the center of the University of Brooksville, Florida, and also the Florida Cracker Oyster Bar over in Keystone Heights, floridacracker.com. Back to the Titan and More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. It's our man, Kevin Brockway from the Gainesville Sun. Good morning, Kevin. How are you?
Good morning. Happy day after John Summerall Day, right?
That's right. Let's get your thoughts on the press conference.
He great, seems like good energy, seems like the kind of guy you want to have a beer with, like blue collar kind of guy. I think he's going to be a lot of fun to cover. And I think he brings good energy, which I think this program needs. I think that, I think a word I used to describe Billy Napier in a tweet was low watt, and I think this guy comes with a little juice to him, a little intensity to him, which I think will, rub off on the players, and you hope that they bring that to the field. And I think that's a positive. And I'm sure that's what, Scott Strickland and, everyone else in this, search process saw as a guy that's going to bring a little passion. So I think it's a good hire. I questioned it at first because of the obviously not having the Power 4 experience. I thought maybe a Power 4 coach would be better at this time. But kind of warming up to it. Feel like, he's a guy that's going to come in and, certainly a defensive coach. You got to get the offensive coordinator right. But I was very impressed with, how he dealt with the media and how heartfelt he was in telling stories also about his family and his background.
Text on the Titan MR text line from Christian. He wants to know, Kevin, when do you think he will name his OC in DC?
Well, it's going to be interesting, and it'll be, let's forget the other, let's remember the other factor in this. Dave Caldwell was introduced as a GM, right, as well. And he's, and when I asked him, what kind of input are you going to have in, is this just going to be a personnel or a staff? And he said, yeah, probably a little bit of everything. I'm going to be working with John Summerall. But, we do have to take into account, too, that Coach Summerall's still coaching his team as well. So, I think, matter of a couple of weeks, I would think. Certainly there might be some candidates that are still coaching right now that certainly could be in play here. So I think, a week or two, you should have a better idea of the staff.
Okay. Um, people are talking about, how many players on the roster you think he keeps, what have you. Nobody's going to know any of that, right? So, Kevin, I can't keep up with the damn transfer portal rules and everything now. Okay. When so like in the past, kids could go participate in spring ball and then enter a transfer portal, correct?
Yeah, not anymore. No,
Not
no,
anymore. Okay,
no.
so that solves a lot of problems, right? So
Yeah.
the transfer portal, what give me the dates again? It's open right now, right?
Well, no, there's one window, January 2nd to the 16th. And people can announce, I mean, and kids do that all the time. They post the swan song on Twitter saying, hey, I'm intending to go into the portal. But the actual portal doesn't open until January 2nd. But I think you will see, if these kids start announcing, in December, hey, look, my intentions are to go into the portal,
Mark on Facebook Live says Urban for OC. I don't know if Urban's ever called a play, Mark. He's an offensive coordinator. All right, so basically you have that window in January.
Yeah.
If you want players from other schools, that's the only time you're getting them because that's it before the season starts, correct?
Yeah, that's the time. There was some confusion because originally there was thought to be a rule where, 5 days after a coach is hired, you could talk to him and then the window opens. But apparently that doesn't go into effect until after January also. So it's part of that same window basically. That's kind of a moot point. But I'm sure there's going to be a lot of conversations that are going to be going on behind the scenes, and there's going to be a lot of agents working. I mean, to me, obviously, one of the keys is you're going to have to keep Jaden Baugh. We know he's from Atlanta. We know Kirby has already poached one Florida running back a couple of years ago in Trevor Etienne. So I think that's the big fear, right? And, and I think there are questions about DJ Lagway, too, and whether, Summerall will want to keep him or Summerall will bring in another quarterback at least to compete with him. I think that's another interesting aspect to watch here in the transfer portal, machinations as well.
Yeah, and Billy here, I brought this up to Buddy, and maybe you know better than I don't know. I've just heard. You just brought up DJ. His question is, do you think they keep DJ? Does he stay on and compete? Or is there anything in his NIL contract that says he's the starter? Because that we heard that all last year and the year before. I can't remember. It's all kind of running together. But what do you know about any of that, Kevin?
Well, I don't think there's anything in the NIL contract that, guarantees that he's a starter. I sincerely doubt that. I have heard there's some NIL stipulations that may somewhat bind him to Florida next season, though. And if that's the case, then he'll be back. And if that's the case, he's going to have to compete. Here's the other question, too. I mean, he basically admitted to us, finally at the end of the season, he's wearing an ice pack on his shoulder saying he's less than 100%. Maybe this is the year he gets that stuff cleaned up, and possibly even take a redshirt year. I mean, you could do that too. There's a lot of ways that you could go with this, because clearly, he wasn't the DJ Lagway as a freshman as he was a sophomore, and missing all those reps too certainly hurts. So I think there are a lot of different ways the coaching staff can go with this, and I'm sure they're going to evaluate where DJ is physically and make a decision in terms of how they want to go forward.
LK on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plus, says, who are some likely strength and conditioning coaches to come? That I have no idea. I never lifted any weights in my career. I don't know anything about any of these people.
No, I don't know, but Urban was very interesting because in talking to Urban Meyer, who had talked to Summerall, before the process and kind of vetted him and so forth and everything, he said that the conversation they had, that's one of the first things they talked about was a strength coach, the conditioning, the offseason. He said, not NIL, and I think that just reemphasizes what Summerall wants to bring, which is a little toughness because Shane, if you look at it, right, and you look at, the 3 games before Florida, it seemed like they were juiced for Florida State because they were rivals. They were juiced for Georgia because they were rivals. But if you looked at the 3 games, Tennessee, Kentucky, Ole Miss, what was the big problem? Tackling, physicality. That was a huge problem.
Mhm.
You let up three, straight 100-yard rushers, three straight 200-yard rushing games in that stretch. And I think that's what Summerall wants to bring: physicality, more consistent tackling on the defensive end, more competitive, and focusing on getting guys bigger and stronger so they can compete on a week in, week out basis in the SEC and get, and also motivation wise, get juiced up for every game, not just your rival games.
Yeah. All right, let's switch gears. Gators play in at Duke tonight. Any chance upsetting the Duke Blue Devils?
There's always a chance. Certainly, look, the season has not gotten off to a strong start as you'd like, and I think certainly there have been well documented backcourt issues and maybe the chemistry with the front court. High turnover rate, obviously the TCU game, where I thought at times they were a little too unselfish. I mean, I remember seeing one drive where Tommy Houck, if he just goes strong to the basket, he gets fouled instead he tries a skip pass for a 3-point shot and it gets stolen. So things like that. I think are they're still trying to work out the kinks for sure, but it's going to be a tough atmosphere. And let me tell you something: it is absolutely ridiculous that this game is in Cameron Indoor Stadium, and I wrote about that today.
Why is that?
This game should be in Gainesville. Florida won the national championship.
Oh,
Duke did not win the national championship last year. Duke crumbled to Houston down the stretch. Florida didn't. You got to give the defending national champions their due here. And I looked this up, Shane, and I don't know, I have obviously tremendous respect for Todd and his staff as defending national championships, but 12,000 air miles in this non-conference schedule. If you had it to do over again, you go out to Vegas, you go out to San Diego. You're gonna have to fly to Raleigh. You're gonna have to fly to New York next week. I mean, that's got to take a little toll, for sure, especially with a team. And it's just it's a tough non-conference schedule, not just from the opponent standpoint, but from the fact that you're going to so many pseudo road environments, for sure. I mean, you had a Big 12 crew in that TCU game, which did Florida no favors, as well. So I just think a lot of that combination. If they had to do over again, maybe they would have chosen to have, a lot more of these teams come here, the defending national champions. But the ACC and the SEC could have worked it out where they had this game in Gainesville. When was the last time Duke played at Florida in Gainesville? I looked this up. 1938. Buddy Martin probably wasn't even born yet. All right. It was peach baskets, hand scoreboards. I mean,
yeah.
Florida went there in '98. There was supposed to be a return game, or there was a thought that Coach K would give them a return game. He never did. So, why have to go there again?
Yeah, I totally forgot this is part of the ACC SEC challenge or whatever it's called now, right?
Yeah.
So you make a lot of sense there, Kevin. I agree. The defending national champ should be playing at home for sure. Ruse Ogre State Farm offers a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visitogreinsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-1779. All right, so looking at the game tonight, matchup wise, I know the Boozer kid is outstanding. A lot of people think he's going to be the player of the year. He was pretty close to signing with the Gators too, right?
Yeah, the twins, Cameron and Caden. And Caden comes off the bench. I mean, but Cameron is the big kid who is, really, he's really something. He's really hard to handle. But, Florida will have a lot of fouls to throw at him. They'll have their front court fully healthy. So I think it's going to have to be a team effort on him. Foster's a very good guard. Sarr is a very, talented wing. They've got a lot of options. They've got a lot of answers. And certainly it's going to be difficult. But, I think for Florida, you hope that Xavier Lee builds off his confidence in the game against Providence and, shoots the ball and Klavshar and Boogie Flan, runs the point efficiently. And, I think those are all going to be factors going in the game. The backcourt play has got to step up for Florida because this continues a tough stretch. And then you go to UConn, obviously. I mean, George Washington is a sneaky good team, but you get them down in Sunrise. So, you're going to want to get out of this non-conference schedule, fingers crossed 10-3, you might end up 9-4. And then if that's the case, you're really going to have to take care of business in the SEC to get that top 4 seat.
If there's any time for our guards to knock down shots, they actually, this is the place to go play because Cameron Indoor has the softest, loosest rims in all of basketball. I watch a lot of basketball. They very friendly rims in that gym.
Yeah, and it's a smaller gym, good sight lines. I think
Hmm.
it's going to be bright gym. I think it will be good for the shooters for that environment for sure. But it works both ways too. So I mean, you've got to defend on the perimeter as well. You got to keep, I think, really, certainly, their guards from penetrating and putting, you have front court players in a bind foul wise. That's been happening a lot too, and you know a guy like Elijah Martin and Will Richard, I think they're really missed in that aspect from this team, in terms of their physicality and their ability to keep guys in front of them. And that's an area where Florida's got to improve. I think Boogie Fland is a guy, you thought coming into the season could provide some of that. But he's obviously, coming off some offseason issues with the groin and hasn't been there yet, but you're hoping that that's going to materialize or that you're going to find some guys that are going to be able to do that. You can talk a lot about effort, but it also takes, a certain amount of athleticism and physicality to be able to do that.
All right, I guess Sundays when we find out the 12-team playoff. There's a lot of texts here on the Titan Mark text line wanting my thoughts, and I'm going to ask you since one of them's your school, Notre Dame or Miami, which one should get in?
I mean, I'm looking at all the numbers. I'm looking at all the metrics, the strength of record, the offense and the defense, and everything is pretty much even. So, why not go head to head here? But I don't know. I still think that this committee, they love the brand name. And certainly Miami's a brand name too. Listen, but I mean, that's a lot of its past glory. But Notre Dame hasn't won a national championship since 1988. So, I mean, there is a chance. Listen, if Alabama loses in the SEC title game, I could see the committee squeaking both of them in there to appease both fan bases, and then
Leaving
shutting
Alabama
Alabama
out.
out. Yeah,
Oh,
that's a possibility.
there ain't no way in hell our commissioner allows that. If you're playing in the SEC championship game, you're getting in the playoffs regardless of the outcome, I think.
Yeah, but we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. It'll be very curious for sure. Because and you've got Vandy on the outside looking in. You got Texas with 3 losses, and they're politicking because they certainly have some good wins on their schedule, but they lost to Florida. I think this is a year that kind of shows, hey, you should have expanded to 16 teams. But listen, Miami, look, they have no one to blame from themselves if but themselves if they don't get in. I mean, they gave away that SMU game. They had 4th and 17 or 4th and 9, and Cristobal calls a terrible timeout that leads to his guy getting a personal foul penalty. If they let that down play out, I'm convinced they get another sack and they win that game 2017 going away, and then they're 11-1 and going to the ACC championship game this week and wouldn't have to worry about that. Probably steamroll Virginia. So it's just like I said, if they don't get in, they have no one to blame but themselves.
What happens if Duke wins that game?
Then Duke gets in, right?
They're automatically in?
They're automatically in. Yeah, you still have that
Wow.
automatic booth.
All right, so
Steve Spurrier will be happy, right? His Dukies are going to
that's
get
right.
in. Yeah.
Yeah. He'll be whoever their quarterback is will get some votes for the Heisman. I can promise you that. He always votes for a Duke guy. Oklahoma, Vanderbilt, both sit at 10-2. I know I want to say Oklahoma has a better resume or something like that. It just feels like Vanderbilt's playing better football though.
Yeah, if you go by the eye test and you go by the fact that Pavia, would bring some juice and excitement to the playoff, you would think that Vanderbilt would get more respect. But I think if you look at Oklahoma's resume and the fact that Oklahoma beat Alabama, I think that stands out because I don't know Vanderbilt's best list. Again, and this is part of the problem too with these conference automatic bids, I think, is the fact that, and you see it in the ACC, because you have so many teams that conference schedules are so unbalanced. And a lot of times there's some fairness questions in that. I mean, some guys get weaker conference schedules than other guys. I mean, take a look at Florida the last 2 years. And listen, we all know it didn't end well for Billy Napier, but the schedule makers didn't do Billy Napier many favors the last couple of years in terms of, what Florida had on his plate. And I think that's next year. If you look at John Summerall, he's going to benefit from an easier SEC schedule. Even by virtue of, getting rid of Tennessee and LSU as yearly rivals, and replacing them with Kentucky and South Carolina. I think that's going to certainly help in the process next year for Florida in terms of trying to turn things around.
So John says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law, Duke is not automatically in. It's the 5 highest ranked conference champions that are in, but there's only 4 conference champs, right? There's only
Yeah,
4 powerful. Yeah, so they are in.
yeah, they are in. Yeah,
Yeah.
because they're a conference champion. They're a Power Four conference champion.
Yeah, there's only four conferences now. There's not 5.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
There's no Pac-12 is a group of
correct.
5 now. Yeah, so.
Yes.
But hey, if John Summerall wins on Saturday, then Tulane will be in also, and Florida will have to wait a little longer for him to have his full-time duties.
He's gonna have his hands full with North Texas, where they can throw it a
Oh, no
lot.
question. Yeah.
Real quick, last thing, Silent J on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plum, says Kevin, is AJ Brown still injured? Would like to see him get a few minutes.
It's kind of interesting because he was injured in the offseason, right? He had the shoulder issue. And I think that the plan may be to redshirt him and to hold him for next year. Even though, he's getting closer to 100%, I think they feel like, they could use him that way. But I had a friend that went to practice and he told me hands down, he thought AJ Brown was the best shooter that he saw. So maybe out of necessity, if the shooting struggles continue, you play him. Look, the guy shot, I think, 37 from 3 for Ohio last year. So I find it interesting that that's the strategy, is that they're going to redshirt him because he could really give them a little something in the SEC. But maybe they're thinking, layers down the road. Isaiah Brown has played pretty well off the bench of late too, and he's starting to earn minutes too, and he can shoot a little bit. So, like I said, we'll see how that all plays out. But I think they feel like with their backcourt rotation now, even though they've been inconsistent, that they want to stick with that, and they're worried that if they, put AJ Brown in the mix, they're just not going to have enough minutes to make it worthwhile, and maybe giving him another year will help beyond and in the future.
All right, so we got multiple people on here, Kevin. You're going to have to do some research after this game. Everybody's saying that if Tulane and JMU are ranked above Duke, then the ACC is out.
I'll have to research that.
Yeah, we're going to have to research this one. I don't know the answer. I don't, doesn't really matter. But it's going to be interesting if Duke is to win that game. If Virginia wins, they're in. If Duke wins, Kevin's got to go do some research.
Then you'd have
Kevin,
no
let
ACC
everybody
teams.
know.
It'd be a disaster, right?
Yeah, let them know how they can follow you on Twitter, listen to your podcast, all that good stuff.
Okay, at Kevin Brockway, G1, Gatorsports.com and Gainesville.com.
Appreciate your time, Kevin. Enjoy the game tonight.
All right, thank you, buddy.
All right. Percall says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plum, Joey from UT, Buster, Georgia Tech, Bell at Pitt is the hot board for OCs. I've heard those, along with Neil Brown. The Pounce Twins provide all of Gator Nation with the highest quality liqueurs made by J.F. Hayden Craft Liqueurs. Find your favorites, including the mango flavors, at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Also, your roofing experts for residential and commercial roofing with more than 50 years of local experience. That is Atlantic Roofing. Appreciate everybody joining us. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Enjoy the game tonight. Take care.